Welcome back to another segment of Did You Know? I hope you're all having a fantastic Friday. Um, Welcome to our social media safety for teens session. So, I know I've talked about this topic before. I talked about internet safety and I talked about social media safety, but this is all a really broad topic. And so there's a lot of things that could be covered, a lot of things to talk about in terms of internet safety, especially since social media is everything but private and secure. And so there are ways that you can work around this so that you can protect your identity and make sure no one's stealing your information or stealing your identity. I do love social media. I think it's awesome. We have all these different social media platforms that help us connect with our family across the world and friends and watch all these funny videos or inspirational movies and documentaries and things like that. And this is all great. But when you have this level of accessibility, there's also a couple risks that are going to come with that. And in this case, ultimately, you don't really get to decide what people do with the information that you share online. You don't get to choose that, but what you do get to choose is what exactly it is that you're sharing. Now, before you share something on social media, you always want to ask yourself a couple questions. Is this thing that I'm posting inappropriate or illegal? Is this going to get me in trouble? Is this thing that I'm posting something that I would be okay with my grandmother or grandfather seeing, or even my parents seeing? Am I posting a comment that could be seen as mean or bullying or harassing another person? Or am I giving my location or phone number out? Or other personally identifiable information that somebody could use to steal my identity? So these are all the things you kind of want to ask yourself before you post something online. Now, what exactly is identity theft? Identity theft is essentially someone trying to get your personal information without your knowledge, without your permission, because they'd like to use kind of your identity as a way to get personal or financial gains or benefit somehow. And this personally identifiable information can be something as basic as your name or your date of birth, or more involved, we think of social security number or mother's maiden name, what school you go to, your address for sure, and your phone number. Definitely things that you don't want to share online. Not only can these be used to steal your identity, but they can also be used to harass you. And that's the last thing you want, is unsolicited phone calls or someone just showing up to your house out of the blue. Now, how are people getting our information? There's a couple different ways, from credit card skimmers to, if you're at a gas pump or something, you put your credit card in, someone can put like a fake tool that scans your credit card. There's a lot of different ways that someone can steal your identity in person, and hopefully in a future video I will talk about that. But for the online portion of this, for social media or any kind of website, the most common form of identity theft is phishing. And there's different ways that they do this, whether it's through text messages or direct messages or emails, phone calls, or even fake websites. Identity thieves generally try to trick you into giving out your personal information, or maybe they'll create a fake website and you'll try to sign into that website using your email or password, or even security questions that you set up when you signed up for the account. And so in order to prevent identity theft, obviously the first thing we want to do is try to be as anonymous and as private as possible about who we are and our personal information online. Now, when it comes to being online, generally you don't want to click a link that someone sends you, whether it's through a direct message or an email or a text message, unless you know the person who's sending you this link, and unless you know that they intended to send you this link, because unfortunately, even if it's your close friend, they could potentially get hacked, and then that hacker could then send you links through their account. Secondly, you don't want to give your personal information out over text message or direct message or over the phone, unless in the very rare exception where you're calling a customer service line, maybe your phone's not working or something, and they ask you to verify your account information. That is the only exception to this. You want to keep your personal information basically off of a paper trail or out of other people's ears or eyes. Now, maintaining your account's privacy includes making sure you know who is on your profile or on your friends list, what kind of stuff you've been posting, and who can see these things. So you want to go through your account's privacy settings when you're done watching this video and turn off location services. That would be the first bit of advice I can give you. Any kind of checking in services that app might have, and you want to turn off public accessibility or visibility to your account. And you can do this either through your privacy settings on the social media website, or each post gives you the option to limit who actually sees the post. You want to only share what you intend to share, especially if you're on a public social media platform, something like Reddit or Discord or Tumblr. Definitely don't want to share any personally identifiable information on those. So phishing farming websites are essentially websites that are designed to trick you into logging in. And a big giveaway for this is the website's link or URL is going to be different than what it normally would be. So I put an example here. Facebook.com can be taken. Someone can copy the Facebook login page, and then they'll have the URL be something like FaceLook or FaceNook, something that's going to look almost identical. And we don't really pay attention to the URL when we're signing into a website, and we really should be. This is going to be designed to trick you into logging in, but instead of logging you in, you enter your personal information, your username and your password, and you click enter. It's basically a form sending that information to the person who hacked or created that website. And then they create a second page once you do that, and that page is going to say your username or password was incorrect. You do, at this point, especially if you know that you put in the right password, you want to double check the website URL and make sure it's not a phishing attempt. If this does eventually happen, because it's probably going to happen to you realistically, it's happened to me, it's happened to everybody that I know. If it does happen, you want to go to the website, the actual website, whether it's Facebook or Instagram, and you want to change your password. That way you don't give the hacker the chance to access your account. A couple more social media safety tips. Of course, you want to maintain your friendships, and so you want to talk to your friends about what's okay to post and what's not okay to post. And this is a two-way street, and so obviously you don't want to post embarrassing or hurtful comments or pictures of your friend, but you also want to make sure that they respect that about you and they don't post embarrassing or hurtful comments about you. And you also want to clarify that if they do post something that could be inappropriate, illegal, or threatening or harassing, or they post something that could get you in trouble, make sure you clarify that you will ask them to delete that and you will report that if they don't delete it. It's just a matter of respect, really. If your friend tells you not to do something, don't do it, especially if it involves social media, because it's not just between you and your friend. At that point, it's between you, your friend, and the whole world, and you kind of want to keep the world out of your friendships. My next tip for you is to know your friends, your contacts, your followers. In this day of social media, for whatever reason, it's cool to have a lot of followers, even though you probably barely even know like 1% of all the followers that you have. These people can see and share and comment on every single thing you post. And so you want to make sure that this is a person that you can trust, especially if, let's say, you're on Discord or Reddit and that's your just general account, and so you're willy-nilly with that, you don't really care, you don't have any personal information, but then you have a Facebook account that you would like to keep private. So obviously the people that you add, you'd want to add people that you know in person. And blocking and reporting is going to be very useful, especially as you get older. You can use this tool to block or report anyone who's harassing you or threatening you or making inappropriate comments towards you. And if this person seems to know a little too much about you, then you want to consult with an adult or a law enforcement officer, police officer, to kind of get that taken care of. Another tip is you want to keep your eye on any third-party websites or apps that might be connected to your main accounts. This is what this means. So some apps are going to let you log in using other apps, or some apps are going to let you log into other apps using your account. And a main one is Gmail, Google Mail. They'll let you log into YouTube or other websites using your Gmail account, which is really cool, really convenient, because then you don't have to make an account on that website. But this also allows that website to access your profile information and your personal information. And so you could trust something like YouTube or any other website, Pinterest, that lets you sign in through Gmail. But if it's a website that seems sketchy or unreliable or untrustworthy, you probably don't want to use this feature because they can hack into your Google account as well. And lastly, I talked about it briefly, reporting is huge. You have every single right to be safe online and to feel safe online. If you feel like you're being cyberbullied or harassed, every website that you use, every app that you use gives you the option to block and even report the person that's harassing you. If someone's asking you to share inappropriate or explicit messages and pictures, you know what I mean, you want to report this person to whatever website they're asking you to send those pictures on, or make a report at cybertipline.org. And I'll have this link at the end of this presentation as well. Now, inappropriate pictures are definitely something very risky. I know several people in my past, back in high school, who may or may not have ruined their lives by doing this. When you take and send that inappropriate or explicit picture, even if it's somebody that you've known for a while and maybe you've been exclusive for a while, it's still a pretty big risk to send that person an explicit picture, because if you end up falling out with that person, or you get in an argument, they could potentially show your picture to your friends or classmates or even your family members, or even post it on the internet. And that, if you can't imagine, is going to be very embarrassing. You might get bullied or harassed by peers or friends who might judge you for sending that picture in the first place. If your school's policy is not to send these kinds of pictures, then you could potentially get in big trouble. I know some teens who've actually been removed from clubs, from sports teams. Some have been suspended. And so it's really, you can get in some pretty big trouble with that as well. We're only halfway through the list and none of these sound good. There are future consequences as well. And especially when we're younger, we don't really think too much about what's going to happen in the future. But for this one, you really want to pay attention. Even if you delete that picture, it can still be retrieved. Even if you post it on your timeline and you delete it, it's still on that server for that website. And so this could potentially be retrieved, and this can follow you for a very long time. It could potentially be seen by a college administration person or a potential employer. And this could happen in 5 or 10 or even 15 years. I know somebody who, after 20 years, got in some serious legal problems because of something they posted on social media a while back. Even you see it on Twitter and TikTok. People get canceled for something they said back in 2011. That kind of stuff still happens, whether you're posting a picture or a really controversial opinion that you have that you shouldn't be sharing. This stuff can follow you. And lastly, legal trouble for sending inappropriate pictures. Especially if you're a minor, you could be charged with sending or forwarding explicit images of a minor. Even though it's just a picture of you, it's still illegal to send that picture. So I'm sure there's more, but I think I've pretty much made the point very clear. So think about it. Think about these different scenarios to yourself. Our first scenario, you get a friend request from someone that says, oh, hey, I'm in your class with you, but you don't really know them in real life, and maybe you don't even recognize them. Do you think accepting this person's friend request is going to be a good idea? Think about it to yourself. Our next one, you're hosting a birthday party and you'd like to post the invitation on Facebook. This is going to include your address and your phone number. Now, think of the different things that could happen if you were to post this information online. Right off the bat, I know you can come up with at least 2 or 3 that you wouldn't want to deal with. In our last scenario, Derek is mad at his math teacher for whatever reason. It's math. And so he wants to post his teacher's picture online and make funny comments under it. This actually happened in a elementary school that I was teaching at. So given that it's illegal to post someone's picture online without their consent, how do you think this is going to end for Derek or for the teacher whose picture is now online? So really just think about these things. It all comes down to just common sense. You obviously would want to protect yourself and your privacy online because you don't want random people harassing you or showing up to your house or calling your phone. And so hopefully this information has been useful for you. Hopefully you take this and kind of apply it to your life. The people online don't need to know everything about you. They don't. It's just the close people, close friends that you have, people that you surround yourself with, they can know some of these things. But when it comes to the internet, sometimes it's best to just stay as brief as you can. So if you'd like to report any inappropriate or sexually harassing people online, you can go to cybertipline.org, the website that we mentioned previously. And if you're dealing with bullying, cyberbullying, or harassment, the website cyberbullying.org can help you there. And of course, we have the same resources that we always have: 24/7 free teen crisis text line, Substance Abuse Mental Health Services Administration, the Partnership for Drug-Free Kids, and of course, Leaders Advancing and Helping Communities. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you have a fantastic weekend, and I will see you next week. Take care.